Professor Luis, thank you for coming on the show, bro.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much.
Yeah, finally made it happen. Thanks, Kevin.
Thank you. Yeah, I just want to give a shout out to Dave Novograd for
Yeah.
introducing us. Been in martial arts 22 years, 23
22 years. Wow, 23 years.
Yeah, and Dave Novograd is a good friend, and he just said, hey, you got to come train over here. It's like a family, and Legacy has been great. You know, like little kids to senior citizens and Savage.
Savage, yeah. So Amy, 80 years old.
Yeah.
Almost.
He's amazing every time I see him.
It's inspiring, right, for us to see that, right? To stay in there.
For sure.
Go the distance.
Yeah. So, martial arts, huh?
What's that?
Martial arts is...
Yeah.
It's a journey.
It's a journey. Hopefully that never stops, right?
For sure.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Yeah, how did you get started in martial arts?
So,
And shout out to Dave, man. He's that guy, man. He's just always like a supporter, a big supporter. Like has your back. You know, you can really trust. You know, he's gonna be there for you.
Yeah.
If you need something. And my earliest memories was coming out to LA, and him being at the tournaments. And he was always a big guy, and just kind of like taking care. You know, taking care. I was like a smaller guy, right? He was just there, like you know, he had your back, even though I didn't really know him that well.
Yeah, that guy's a walking encyclopedia of everybody in jiu-jitsu and of jiu-jitsu.
Of jiu-jitsu, yeah.
Yeah, so I trained with them at Todd Nathanson's, and I was going to do a couple of tournaments, and then I'm like, I need that guy with his loud voice and walking encyclopedia of what everybody's going to do and when they're going to do it, and it was perfect. Like, yeah. So, jiu-jitsu, huh?
Yeah. How did you get into? What's your journey? Because you tell me you did some kickboxing before, right, or Muay Thai?
Yeah, I did.
How did you get into martial arts?
So martial arts, you know, I was a poor kid growing up. You know, my dad.
Did you grow up in the valley?
Yeah, I grew up in the valley. My dad did like tree service and things like that. So I grew up as a little kid. I wasn't really in sports. I was just like, anytime I had free time, my dad would pick me up and was like, hey, let's go to work. Let's go to work. So we'd be in there cutting brush, doing tree care every Saturday, every like time I got an opportunity to, and it just gave me a lot of grit. And I never really played sports, not even in high school. I did a little bit of track and field, and then one day I went to House of Champions, and I'm like, oh, I need to train this, and I saw the UFC, and how do I do that? And the guy's like, oh, well, there's a Jean-Jacques Machado school in Reseda. And I'm like, I'm going there. Like, I walked in one day, and then as soon as he told me where to go, I went there. And I saw how unbelievable jiu-jitsu was. And I just started training with Jean-Jacques. And I did that about 2 years, got my blue belt from him, and had to go to college. And when I went to college, I asked Jean-Jacques where
did you go to college?
Cal Poly Pomona.
Okay.
Yeah, Cal Poly Pomona for agriculture, for tree care.
Nice.
So I asked Jean-Jacques where I should go, and he's like, hey, there's this guy who has a gym in Burbank. And that's how I found Vanderbraga.
Oh.
Yeah, so I trained with Vanderbraga.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. He gave me
I did a podcast with him, and after all his craziness, you know, of getting stuck in Brazil after going back, after being here, because he was the guy up here, in this area.
He was the guy for this area. So at the time when I was training him with him, he was doing a little bit of the UFC stuff. He did a lot of no holds bar stuff. So a lot of the training that we did was mixed in with MMA, which was great for a young 20-year-old.
Yeah.
I didn't get into jiu-jitsu till I was like 18, 19. But I loved it, and so I would, wake up early, like 4 o'clock in the morning, go to work, and as soon as I finished work, I'd go straight to the gym, and I did that for a while. And so I got my purple and brown for Vander.
Okay.
Yeah, my purple and brown.
That's so cool, man. Yeah, I feel like a connection with him, even though I wasn't a student, or she was supposed to fight maybe back in the day, but I always felt his I don't know, like some kind of connection with him and his guys that train with him too.
Yeah, he gives a lot to his students, and I've been blessed to have teachers that are good with kids too, because I always feel like you got to teach the generation coming under you. You gotta make them better than you are. That's how I feel about my kids. You know, like I show them a little bit of jiu-jitsu here and there. It's like I want to make sure they're black belts when they grow up, because it just teaches so many life lessons. And,
True character training, right?
Yeah, so I did a couple classes where I helped him teach the kids classes, and then unfortunately he got that whole visa thing that happened to him.
Yeah.
And he wasn't available, and then I started a new job in Ventura County, and then I was like in LA, and I was like, okay, well, I need to do something different now. And I ran into Rick Metzler from the Pit, Malibu.
Malibu.
Yeah, who I guess got his black belt at the same time Chuck Liddell did, and
Nice.
John Heckelman. So I did Hawaiian Kempo for about 6 years. So I got my brown belt, and then didn't have an instructor.
Then you went Chuck Liddell style, huh?
Then
For a few years.
Yeah, just tell you a whole different thing. And the great thing about Rick Metzler is he's such a patient teacher, and he also I also helped him with the kids class, and it was again teaching.
Where was it at?
That was in Malibu.
Oh, in Malibu. Okay.
In Malibu, yeah.
Is he still there now?
Yeah, he's still there. He's still teaching there.
Okay.
And the Hawaiian Kempo is such a hard style. You know, the way John Heckelman teaches. You know, like if you want. And Rick Metzler, if you want to hit hard, what do? You hit hard. You know, you want to, you want to kick somebody, you kick them. You know, and it's just a hard style and
have you watched the Cobra Kai show?
No, I didn't.
Okay, it's kind of cringe, right? Some of the stuff, but it's cool, man. Because I grew up with some of the stuff, but they had the finale. Not to spoiler alert if anybody hasn't watched it yet, but they had the Johnny fight this other like really good guy, at the end, and Johnny's not, the other guy's better. He's technical, but he doesn't give a damn, and he's confident, just like doesn't care, like, okay, he's better, whatever. I don't care. I'm just gonna take you out. Like, like in a way, like it reminds me of that attitude, old school, like American Kempo karate or whatever he calls it, and you watch it and you're like, yeah, that's it.
No,
you get pumped up,
Yeah. So, I mean, growing up, a lot of the stuff, my heritage is Mexican. So a lot of the stuff is, you watch those boxers, right?
Yeah, heart.
De La Hoya and Cesar Chavez, and like it's all heart, and a lot of jiu-jitsu is heart.
Mm-hmm.
It gets you a long way.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
for sure. So how did you make your way back to LA and jiu-jitsu?
So after I started kickbox up until my daughter was born. And then when my daughter was born, I'm like, I can't be driving 2.5 hours to train and be gone 4 hours, and also just the amount of impact that you take. It's a little different than jiu-jitsu. Jiu-jitsu.
So you were driving to Malibu?
So yeah, I was driving to Malibu, which was like an hour something.
Yeah.
And then training there for an hour. So round trip ended up taking 4.5 hours.
Yeah, every traffic, right?
Yeah, so when my daughter was born, I'm like, I probably need to take it a little slower.
Yeah.
And take care of her. So I ended up training at Todd Nathanson's Academy of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu in Chatsworth, and that's where I got my black belt.
Black belt.
Yeah.
Nice.
He was originally one of the original American black belts from Jean-Jacques.
Jean-Jacques, yeah. It's been around for a while.
And then, so I love teaching kids. I love teaching others. I think jiu-jitsu gives us, a tribe, give us somewhere to be.
Belong to, right?
Belong to. You could forget about all your problems, just be in the moment, and just being in the moment is so important for everybody,
For our well-being, happiness. Yeah. Man, legacy tree care, huh? Like the other side, that side, yeah. And I had a student in New Mexico back in the day, and that's what he did. He would climb up trees. He was from Northern Cal, like those big, what are they? The big trees? What are they? What kind of trees?
Redwoods.
Redwoods, yeah. And so he was from up there, like Humboldt County, right? And he moved to New Mexico. And that's what he did. He would just climb trees and cut it. Had a chainsaw and he would just cut it. And he was so strong. His grip, his feet.
Yeah.
He just like he grappled with trees all day, and then he grappled with you, and you're like, man, this guy's like he wasn't that big of a guy, but he was so strong.
Oh, definitely.
Shout out to Jonas Lowe.
There you go. I owe all my endurance to tree care. So basically, since I was a little kid, I'd go with my dad. We'd cut down big trees, put them in the truck, get rid of it. So then I ended up pursuing that in college. I ended up going, and I was like, you know what? At first, I was like, you know what? I can't be in tree care. I should be a doctor. So then I started started learning biology, and I'm like, I can't be indoors. I got to be outdoors, working, like feeling like I'm getting stronger.
Yeah.
And then so all that lifting heavy logs and everything, big old chainsaws, all that fun stuff. And I ended up doing that for work and
Doing something physical, doing something with your body. Yeah.
So now I own a tree care company, and I'm actually a board certified master arborist, which is the top tier. Only like 1% of all arborists are that. Yeah. So right now we take care of a lot of big commercial buildings and universities, cities, all that stuff with the tree care. And then it's a
Do you have contracts with like cities and
contract with cities. So right now a big thing that happened, right, was those fires that happened.
And the
fire
wind
in the
before, right? That's what like, kind of tore up all the trees everywhere.
Yes. So something amazing about trees is how resilient they are. You know, like they give us food. They provide shade, happiness. Like when you think about trees, you only think about positive things, and you know, taking care of those specimens is amazing. You know.
They have that the wood, the world, how we're connected, right, with the roots and the fungi under earth, right? How everything's interconnected, and they talk to each other, like in the forest, like if there's predators coming, and whether it be animals or some kind of insect or something.
Oh, definitely. After so many years of working with them, everything has, not to go into like the Eddie Bravo like area.
I mean, but it's all science. It's real now. It's like it's real stuff.
Everything's got its own wavelength. You know, like I right now I've been with trees my whole life. I could tell if they're stressed. I could tell if, they need something.
How do you know if they're stressed?
Just the way their leaves are, the way their branches hang, the way they're connected to their surroundings, the way they make people feel. Like if you go to a property and you talk about their trees, you could see, right, like everybody has a connection. Like, I love this tree, I don't love this tree, I want this, I want that, and you could see it. But I was gonna say, not to go in Eddie Bravo territory with like wavelengths, kind of like when you do jiu-jitsu, right?
Yeah.
Like you go, you see somebody and you're like, okay, this person's aggressive. Okay, this person isn't aggressive. This person's gonna be a fun roll. This person's gonna be a hard roll.
Yeah.
And everything's the same. Same with trees.
Tell me some interesting things about plants that a lot of people don't know about.
Well, like you said, like the fungi, they communicate. They help communicate. You have to just take care of everything around them. Like there's so much. Like
some of the things that fungi, right? How they communicate under the forest. How everything's interconnected. Like the worldwide network of just not even like the roots, but even the fungi.
Yeah.
Speaking, but them. Like miles away, right?
Well, I'll give you another one. What they came up like mother trees. Have you ever heard of mother trees? No. So a mother tree is like an old established tree that is in an area, and it kind of communicates with all the trees around it. So it kind of shelters all the saplings as they grow.
What's a sapling?
Saplings is like the baby trees.
Ah, okay.
It protects all the saplings as they grow, and if you one of the problems with forestry is if they go in there and they knock down the biggest tree, now they lose that protection, they lose that communication, because even redwoods, all their root systems are interconnected. They're not just there by themselves. They have their roots fused together, and they're transporting nutrients. You could have a tree in one area that has very little soil or water, and it will get help from the other trees nearby. So it's crazy. It's amazing. It's like kind of people, you have somebody that gives a lot, takes, gives to everybody. Hey, I'm gonna teach the kids, the older people. I'm gonna bring them all in. And you have that person leave. It stresses everybody out.
Yeah. Mother tree. Wow. And how does they give nutrients? They give what else do they give? I guess that's enough, right?
Yeah, they it's almost like
They
they're
communicate.
protecting. Yeah, they're protecting the others. Yeah.
Wow,
funny.
mother tree. I've never heard about that.
Yeah.
What is some other, what happens if like a tree, like it burns down or
So a lot of
like
the
it
stuff
it gets sick.
yeah, a
it
lot
gets
of the
sick.
stuff in the fire areas, that's really important too. A lot of there's an organization that of arborists that's trying to help protect Altadena, called Altadena Green. You guys could add them on Instagram.
Yeah.
It's basically
Altadena Green.
Altadena Green. It's basically like, let's say you have oak trees, right? They're grown in Southern California, which is prone to fires. It's on a regular basis. There's always fires. So those trees have adapted to deal with fires. So you could get an oak tree that has flames all around it and loses its leaves, and it'll come right back.
Damn.
Like they're very, very fire resistant. Because if you think about a tree, it's basically a column of water. Basically. So it's very hard for a tree to burn if it's native to this area. So a lot of those trees.
Same thing with like palm trees.
Palm trees are also adapted to fire. If you ever see a palm tree that burns up, you go up to the skin and cut a little bit of it, and it'll be healthy underneath. Unless it's next to a structure where it burns too hot, like a kiln.
Yeah.
Like
a house or something.
Otherwise they'll survive. A lot of these trees are survive. They're just incredible things that are adapted to survival. A lot of the stuff, a lot of the trees in the fire areas are getting removed unnecessarily. A lot of those are going to bounce back. They just need a little patience. They just need let spring come, have a little bit of water in the soil, and they'll be fine. They'll come back. It's going to be different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You got to let nature do its thing, right?
Yeah, you let nature.
Don't try to change it.
Nature always finds a way, like what they said. Yeah.
Man, so many fires, right? Especially this last one was. I mean, every year it seems like.
So one of the things about fire, right? It's once it gets too big, it's uncontrollable, especially with the wind. I think we were very lucky that it was blowing toward the ocean and not toward LA. I think it would very easily even burn the whole city down if the wind had changed direction, because there's no way to stop it.
I saw that Joe Rogan piece, right, where he's talking about the one of the fire chiefs, right, and he's like, man, if you get the right conditions, like it'll burn down every part of LA.
Yeah. So unfortunately, I owned a piece of property in Ventura County in 2019. 2019, and the Easy Fire burned it down, and that fire was caused by by Edison, basically. The electrical touchdown and created the fire, and at the time there was 80 mile an hour wind. So I was actually training in the morning at 5 o'clock in the morning. I was training, and then I turned off my phone, and then I turned my phone back on, and my dad's like, the house is on fire. And I'm like, what? He's like, the house is on fire. You got to come. And I'm like, oh man, how is it on fire? And he's like, I don't know, but you got to come. So I drove to the house in Simi Valley, and the fire hadn't reached the house yet. But with 80 mile an hour winds, I mean, we were probably like half a mile away, and you couldn't stand the heat. It was crazy. And so that's my first experience with fire. And then after that, we had the Thomas and Woolsey fire. So I dealt with a lot of trees in burnt areas. So now this Pacific Palisades Indian is like, I guess I'm the professional in the field now.
What are some things that can prevent forest fires, at least in, with structures and houses and things like that?
You just need break. You know how
Because I saw like they're selling, like, you know, you see those paid ads now
Yeah.
with the little sprinkler systems on top of the house, you know.
Yeah.
But I think just like maybe brush too. I don't know, clearing brush.
So clearing brush is one of it. The main issue with most of those fires when they were burning the houses, it was the air conditioning systems. It was the embers were going in the eaves, so the house would actually not catch on fire from the outside; it would catch on fire from the inside.
Really?
Yeah. So
How does that work?
it
Sucks in the
so it
embers?
sucks in the embers and it goes in your roof, and then all the insulation catches fire, and then it burns from the inside out.
So make sure that AC is off on heat.
Make sure AC's off. A lot of the so anything with an older roof, right? If you have an older roof, is number one. Number two is like the vents, right? It doesn't suck it inside your house. So now a lot of the things they're in the new houses, and they're recommending changing out your insulation system so it has anti-ember screens. Yeah.
On the insulation.
On the insulation, yeah. Or no, the vents that suck in the air
gotcha.
from your house. Yeah. So.
And then those sprinkler systems. What do you think about those sprinkler systems? Because I saw so many reels and people talking about how they stayed overnight, like, watering their yards and their roofs and the neighbors' homes, and they survived. Their home didn't burn down because of that.
Yeah, that just might be the luck of the draw. Like when you have a fire that big and the embers are flying at hurricane wind speeds, and you have fire all around you and the heat, and nothing's stopping it.
Yeah. Man, it's scary.
Yeah.
I remember, just there was on the 405 a few years back.
Yeah.
That video of the 405, you're on the 405, and it was just like blazing. It was like hell, right?
Yeah, a little hellscape. That was awesome. That was actually one of our jobs, right? The big water tanks next to Sepulveda. Yeah, exactly where that picture was taken.
Wow.
We ended up clearing that whole hillside of brush because of that.
So some of the brush clearing can help.
Yeah, the brush clearing could definitely help. If everybody did their brush clearance, that would have given everybody a little bit more time to react, which might have helped. But it's really
still those hurricane winds.
The hurricane winds are not going to stop.
I mean, man, that night before that, the things, like, I came here to the gym and drove my daughter home, and man, it was like there was trees breaking, like power lines going down, just from the winds. And those are the small streets, so I took the main street. Even the main street, there's like one lane left.
Yeah.
I've never seen it like that in all the years I've lived here.
Well, I think it's one of those lessons learned, right? So now I think the fire department, whenever they have a wind like that, they're gonna have
high alert.
They're gonna have the fire trucks stationed at the points where those things would be the most hazardous. They need to cut it off before it starts, basically.
Yeah. Beyond ready to go, ready to fight, right?
Yeah, ready to fight. So just from experience from those fires, just know that the process is going to be really long for people to get back. It might take 5 to 10 years for it to just even come back to somewhat normal. It's going to be a long road for everybody.
Altadena and Pacific Palisades.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, man, hope we're moving. Hopefully things can move faster with technology and things. I don't know.
For sure.
Yeah, but nature is nature, right? With trees and brush and
but I think it's important when people are redoing all those homes is to plant trees. Trees give us so much. They give so much and ask for so little. All they need is water, basically. All you have to do is water a tree. That's an amazing thing to have, and all you need is water.
Playing music. I remember when I was my wife is really into plants and those things. She has a good green thumb, and just it makes her happy. Makes the room like jungle cafe, right?
Yeah.
And so just the whole energy of plants, right, gives you like a certain frequency, right? We're talking about frequency and stuff of happiness and well-being. Yeah, you were talking about earlier about blue light. I'm wearing these blue light blue light blocker glasses, right?
Yeah.
And just seeing green, right? Being in nature with green things changes things up, right? For
Oh,
your
de-stresses
happiness,
you. Oh
de-stresses
my
you.
God, yeah. Yeah, anytime I want to be de-stressed, I go in my garden and just, you know, tend to it a little bit, and I feel in the moment, just like jiu-jitsu, right? You got to feel in the
Be
moment.
present, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, gardening, working with plants, right? Slows everything down.
for sure.
What do you study in college? What do you guys what kind of things do you study when you're working like on a degree in that?
Yeah, so I studied agriculture in college. So
Mhm.
basically, just the way plants grow, their biology, botany. Um,
Did you already know a lot of the things just from growing up around it?
yeah, I knew a little bit of it, but you know, it's nothing like book smarts to do it. And then basically, I would just I mean I'm a little bit dyslexic, so I learn a little bit different, you know. So I would a lot of the stuff is learn by doing, and then you know, like when like in order to learn all this stuff, I have to keep looking at it over and over and over and over and over again. But you know, like that's how my mind works. I tend to dwell on something a lot, and I keep repetition, which is good for jujitsu, right? Because you go into scenarios where you go against somebody, you're like, oh, he got me in an arm lock. I'm never gonna let that happen again. So like, how did he set it up? I gotta memorize how he set it up, so I never get in that position, and then I'm gonna do it to him. You know what I mean?
Dyslexic, right? They also say like a pattern really makes you really good at pattern recognition.
Yeah,
Seeing the patterns, and you're talking about, yeah, how did he set it up? What's the pattern there?
yeah. So one of the things that that I kind of live by is work, family, and health. You know, like so if I'm not doing one of those things, I have to be doing
Work,
one of those
family, and
things.
health.
Yeah, work, family. I have to be doing one of those things. So I don't like if you ask me what TV show I watched, I don't think I could count the number of movies I watched in my hand in probably the last 5 years. I don't. If you ask me what show I've watched, I don't think I've watched a show in 10 years. You know, I'm just doing one of those three things. If it, you know, so um, yeah. So for jujitsu, what's funny is I'll spend 6 months on a move, and I'll only do that move or that series of moves. So right now, in the last 2 or 3 months, I've just been doing like the mother's milk, you know, like
My son's favorite move.
yeah. So yeah, with all that daughter stuff and B team and all that stuff, it's just basically stay mounted, and do it. So like actually, what got me doing that is
The Portuguese word is a abafu, like a smother, basically smother
yeah,
choke, you
smother
know.
choke. What
Yeah.
actually changed my jiu-jitsu game, like
But like
totally.
mother's milk sounds better.
Yeah, right. Where I changed my jiu-jitsu totally would be actually the McConnor Gregor fight.
Really,
Yeah, when he fought Khabib.
Khabib.
Yeah, and how Khabib just mounted him, you know, like, and I'm like, how did he do that? And it was just like, all he did like just squeeze the legs. That's it. And then I'm like, okay, I'm gonna do that. So for 6 straight months, all I did was mount people and squeeze my legs, and I'm like, wow,
This
like,
works.
yeah, this works. So, you know, like for whenever I'm working on something, I just pick one move or one series of move, and I do the same thing every time to every belt. And then once I get good at that, I'll choose another one. But it's very rare that I work on more than 2 or 3 moves at any one time.
Nice. How did I keep looking at the name Legacy Tree Care? Why did you choose that
Oh,
name?
Legacy Tree Care, that's a good one. Look at this going back. So my grandfather,
Wow.
my grandfather and worked in agriculture in Mexico, in Zacatecas, Mexico, and he would come to the U.S. as a bracero, right? He's just a field worker.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he'd come work over here, he'd get deported, go back, come back, you know, and like basically that's his way of revenue of paying for his family. He'd come, work in the fields, take the money back, come back in 6 months, do that. And then my father ended up moving here when he was probably like 18 and was working in a factory. He's like, I can't work in a factory. And then he started doing tree care because back where we're from, there's a lot of peach farmers that prune trees. So a lot of the people from Zacatecas actually are in the tree care industry because we prune trees back there. Now we're pruning trees over here. And when I was setting up my business, I was like, I mean, my whole family does this. Like every uncle, every cousin, every person that I knew works in this industry because that's what they learned from their fathers. So I said, legacy tree care. You know, that's what I'm gonna do. So I'm gonna hopefully pass it on to my daughter one day.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Ended up at Legacy too, Legacy Jiu-Jitsu.
Yeah, it just so happens like all my gear is legacy now. You know, like that's pretty awesome too. My daughter, you guys had like a little sale on the green sweaters, and now it's her favorite sweater.
Nice.
The green legacy sweater. It's funny.
Nice, man. What's that?
It looks like a tree care sweater.
The green color.
The green
right?
color, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what have been some of your favorite moves over time? Jiu-jitsu moves.
Jiu-jitsu moves. I guess what I like the most is just being relentless, keeping the pressure on.
Relentless. Huh?
Yeah, keeping the pressure on, make the other person make a mistake. But I do that by not changing up what I do. So I put pressure down and let them choose where I'm gonna go. But I do the same thing to everybody. I don't change it up. So basically, I try to basically use pressure to let them give me what they want to give me. Yes, I don't think I have a favorite move. Oh, you know what? Crucifix.
Okay.
Crucifix.
Yeah.
Crucifix.
Yeah,
If I was to
I've
choose
seen
something
yeah,
funny
yeah.
with crucifix.
Crucifixes are fun, man, to do in jiu-jitsu. It's a fun move. When you get somebody in a crucifix,
Yeah.
when you wrap up that, when you swipe up that arm and you got the arm between your legs.
Yeah. So there's only two positions that I like more than back mount is crucifix and mount. So what's the good thing about crucifix, if you get it behind somebody, you're not really expending a lot of energy either. You know, you could chill out until they let you know what you want to give them, and then assassin choke from there.
Assassin choke, cool.
Yeah.
Barry Yoshida, shout out.
Barry Yoshida, shout out, yeah, for
Yeah.
sure. And then a lot of that stuff is just making them carry your weight. You know, don't even proceed. Let them carry your weight the whole time.
In the crucifix?
Yeah.
Or just
you know,
period, overall?
Just overall, you know, like because your body weighs so much. Have you ever tried to
yeah.
pick up somebody that's limp? It's,
Right.
It's almost impossible. And they could be a little kid, a 10-year-old. Try to pick up a 10-year-old body. It's so hard if they're limp.
Yeah.
So a lot of the times when I'm doing it, I'm basically just going limp and letting them carry me the whole time. And then when they're done and tired of carrying me, then I'll move. Yeah. What about you? What's your favorite?
Man, I think I'll repeat your crucifix. You know, there was a few guys early on doing it. Marcelo Garcia kind of was doing it, Barry Yoshida. And then I was one of the early guys to do crucifix, you know?
Yeah.
So I really love that position. Like I said, it's fun. And I've been able to do it at, you know, pretty much all levels, you know, black belt, jiu-jitsu with the gi, no gi, MMA.
Yeah.
I was hoping to do it in the UFC, but I never was able to do it in the UFC. But yeah, I love that move. I love that move because people are always cross grabbing, for example, in you know, in MMA, like a high crotch kind of position, and that puts you right into that crucifix, you know, like wrestlers and stuff.
Yeah.
So it's like one of my counter wrestling kind of moves, you know. If I go against a wrestler and the guy cross grabs, you know, boom, he's in the
Anytime
move.
they do a single leg, you got it.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. Let them get the single leg.
Other favorite moves, of course, like omoplata. I love omoplata. Really became really good at that cross guard kind of omoplata.
Yeah.
Like controlling one side of the body, and spent a lot of time there. And it's been cool because you can, from there, I hurt my arm actually. That's how I kind of started to develop the game. Like sometimes negatives can be a positive, right? Like there's a silver lining. And so I had to train one-handed for like 6 months. And so I got really good at controlling one side of the body, so controlling one sleeve, right? And then I was using my legs, and my legs got so good at yeah, just controlling the person. That once I could use my second hand, it was like nobody could stop
Yeah.
it.
I was
All the
gonna
way through
I was
black
gonna
belt.
say anything in jiu-jitsu, use your legs. Use very little of your arms. Your legs are so much stronger than
Yeah,
your arms.
yeah.
Anytime you could use your legs would be great. You know.
Yeah.
Shout out to the sensei Venner.
Daniel, yeah, for
Yeah.
sure.
So one of the things is
You guys battling out. I love watching you guys train. You always bring it to him. And he's
Yeah.
like, man, he just doesn't stop.
Yeah. So one of the things is, I did jiu-jitsu for a long time, and then I did kickboxing for a long time, but I
Yeah.
never really developed a takedown because I did a couple of tournaments at John Heckelman's, like MMA style, but I never really had takedowns. So I'm so good at the ground, like. We'll just stand and bang, and if I get taken down, then I'll deal with it. Or if I take him down, or if it falls, I'll deal with it.
Yeah.
And then, as you're getting older, you're kind of figuring out like, oh shit, how do I do this? How do I do that? And then Sensei came with judo, and I'm like, oh my god, this is great. I don't have to expend any energy until I'm ready to. No matter, like, the other person could be going 100%, and I don't have to do anything until I'm ready. And judo's so much fun.
What are some of the concepts, or what are some of the patterns that you started to see in judo that you kind of gravitated towards?
So a lot of the stuff is posture, just the way your head up straight, your back straight, everything straight. So you could pick everything up with your hands. So if I stand like this, I could fight with my hands, and then it's same thing as boxing, right? Like, you're protecting your face, you're protecting your body, but you keep everything close. So if he extends an arm, all I have to do is this. And grab it, I don't have to be here. I don't have to go here. I don't have to lunge down and get it. All I have to wait for him to give me his hand, and it just saves so much time and effort. And you just like, I'm gonna wait till he gives me something. Oh.
Yeah, with the gi and the posture and stuff, right? The structure, it's a lot easier to kind of control, right?
Yeah.
No gi kind of changes up a little bit, right? With some of those things, but it's still there.
Still there.
You just have to adapt, right, to the gripping and
and then it's so
positioning.
beautiful when you get something, it feels effortless. You're not like
The foot sweeps, right?
foot sweeps feel effortless. You could do it all the time. So every time I walk by my daughters, I'll like try to foot sweep them, and they'll do the same thing. And then so now my 7-year-old is getting good at foot sweeping me. I'm like, dang it. So I'll be walking by and she just does a foot sweep.
How many kids do you have?
I have 2. I have a 10-year-old and a 7-year-old, and both of them, I said, I don't care what you do, but you're getting your black belt before you go to college. So I'm gonna make sure they
Follow through.
Yeah, follow through. So I've just slowly been teaching them. I'm actually coach one of my daughters, her soccer team, AYSO. Just for fun, all-star team, and just the discipline that she learned at jiu-jitsu and just working hard. It's just you could see it in her sport. She's like, I just gotta keep on and put the pressure on the other girls, and they'll break before I break. And I love watching that.
Yeah. Gi or no gi?
So I went through periods in my life, right? In the beginning, it was gi because it was Hoist Gracie, and you're like, he's doing it, I gotta do it. And then Hicks and
That's how he got us all. That's how I was brilliant to fight with the gi, right?
Yeah. And then Hickson came, and he's like, we're doing MMA. So I'm like, oh, now we're doing MMA. Let's do this. And then
that's how it was. That's how it was.
Let's
straight up with the Speedos, right?
Yeah, let's put on some gloves and let's go. And then you started seeing better and better strikers, and I'm like, oh man, I gotta learn how to strike. And then after you learn how to strike, then after that, you're like, the whole Gordon Ryan was coming. I'm like, no-gi's the way to go. In my 30s, I was going hard on no-gi. And then in my 40s, I'm like, I have to slow it down a little. So now I like
gi.
I like gi now because there's so many ways to control the tempo that no matter who you go to, you can control the tempo. Whereas in no-gi, sometimes if somebody says let's go, you gotta
faster.
Go.
Yeah,
it's faster. It's slippery. It's not the same, But they're both the same.
Yeah, it's jiu-jitsu, right? You got to learn how to positioning, gripping.
Yeah, gripping.
Find the patterns, right?
Yeah, find the pattern. And it's something too you learn in MMA too. Is like your posture is everything. everything is your posture. So that translates to everything else. You know, even in judo, I was like, sensei would always use your posture. It's like, oh my God, I learned this in kickboxing. You know, like
Structure.
I could do it.
You have that hollow body, that gymnast hollow body, right?
Yeah.
It's boxing, Muay Thai. I mean, wrestling, jiu-jitsu.
Yeah. And it just goes to show you kind of like one of the things that Danaher says is, you know, you could get from 0 to 100 in 4 to 5 years if you try. You know what I mean? If you just put your mind to it, you could be the best in the world. And I truly believe that. Like if somebody says like they really want to do it and they have the grit to do it, in less than or about 4 years, if they put their all in.
4 years, right? I think Sensei Danny were talking about that.
Yeah.
4 years, right?
Yeah, you could be the best in the world at whatever you decide. So kind of like what I did was tree care. So I had to do the board certified master arborist for tree care, and I'm like, I got to do it. Like I got to make myself different than everybody else. I can't just be an arborist. I got to be the best arborist. So it's like, how do I do that? I'm like, I have to read. I have to know everything. So I got 100 and I think it was 136 journals.
Wow.
And I dedicated every day to reading 4 journals. And then I went to go take the test, and I'm like, I did it. I'm not 1%. I'm not 1% now. So same with jiu-jitsu, you know, like I wanted to be that 1% at least. Maybe not world champion, but that 1%.
Yeah, 4 years. I like that. 100% all in.
All in.
That's about right.
Yeah.
I talked to she won nationals and California State for wrestling.
Yeah.
Sam Sachs yesterday, and it's about that. You know, I mean, still about that though. You know, it's about 4 years of if you really go all in, focus, right?
Yeah. But it's
mentally, physically, everything else, all doing all the right steps.
Yeah, but don't think it's a journey by yourself either. You have to find the people around you that can take you there. You know, you got to be like, hey, who's gonna help me do my health? Who's gonna help me support me?
Your
Who's
team,
gonna be
right?
there for me? Your team, yeah. You got to pick the people around you to support you.
Yeah, it's the 5 people closest to you, right? Your peer group, but also your team if you're whatever you're doing, right?
Yeah.
Your team. If you're an athlete, right? Like your strength and conditioning. Your if you have a nutrition person, right?
Yeah.
Your training partners.
Yep. Your training partners are everything, which is kind of funny too, though, because people always think kind of even like Hodger Gracie, you know, he's like he wasn't training with black belts. He was training with blue belts and white
Training
belts.
down, yeah. Braulio Estima as well.
Yeah.
When he first moved to England.
Yeah. I mean, I feel that way too. I feel like if you want to get really good at a move, you got to do it with blue belts and purple belts.
Yeah, you have to train down.
And then once you get really good at blue belts and purple belts, then you can move on to brown and black.
Yeah, Danaher talks about that. I mean, yeah, when I was in New Mexico back in the day, that's all I had was made my own training partners, right?
Yeah.
And then I would go to Brazil before big tournaments and get my timing down.
Yeah.
So go against really top level guys to get my timing down.
Yeah. Timing is everything. Space, timing.
Yeah. But otherwise, like to get better, to improve, to get new skills, right?
Yeah. And I guess new skills are overrated too. Just like Hodger, right? He just does the collar choke.
I mean, right? There's levels on supposedly basic things. Those are the advanced things if you know all the details, right?
There's levels to this, right? Yeah, that's one thing. I was like, I'm not in a hurry to learn a lot more. I'm in a hurry to perfect a lot more.
Yeah. Who are your favorite competitors right now?
I wouldn't say I have a.
Do you watch a lot of matches?
I tend not to watch a lot of matches because I just don't have the time for it. I tend to like the aspects of what they're bringing, the essence almost, you know, like the whole Craig Jones, how they is flipping the scene on how people roll, you know, I like that. I like even like Khabib, you know, he's like that whole style is just like you just smash, you just make your way and you just smash, and it's just like almost the philosophy behind those things, more than a certain person. Like the Hugo Duarte.
Mm-hmm. The
Like,
lucha libre guy. Back
no,
in the
no,
day?
no, not Hugo.
Oh yeah,
Victor Duarte.
Victor Duarte.
How he just. I was like, I saw how he was dealing with Nicky Bryant,
Mm-hmm.
and I was like, that is how I do my jiu-jitsu. Is basically that that half guard with the hands extended, just protect. Don't let them grab your head, and I mean that's basically that's all he did.
Yeah.
And then found entries to the legs, and then try to reverse.
Yeah. Nice, man. Awesome, man. Legacy tree care.
Yeah, for sure.
Boom. Jiu-jitsu, martial art, lifestyle, health, family, and work, right?
Yeah, that's all.
That's all we need, right?
That's all you need, And make sure the next generation's better than the generation we have. There's so much going on in the world. You got to build strong kids. That's the most important thing for everybody. Like I got to make sure my daughters are good at school. Make sure they do what they have to do, are polite to people, and are black belts in jiu-jitsu before they go off to college.
There you go. That's it. That's the mission.
For sure.
Any more shout outs to anybody?
There's so many, right? I guess Vander Braga for teaching me.
Vander.
And then Rick Metzler definitely for teaching me how to teach kids and the hard Hawaiian Kempo style. Todd Nathanson for being as stubborn as he is. And so he's so good. I've never submitted my Todd Nathanson. I've gotten in a footlock where I swear it was broken and he never tapped. And then he's funny. He's an amazing person. Yeah. And then I give a shout out to you for creating a home for here. And thank you.
Thank you, brother. Dave,
sure.
Dave, for
Dave,
connecting all
Dave.
of us,
That was
right?
in the beginning. Here he got a big shout out. I don't want to make him too full of himself, by giving him 2 shout outs.
Thank you, brother.
For
What you can say?
Oh, Daniel Sensei, Daniel for sure.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Super dad with his kids every weekend.
For judo, yeah.
Yeah.
I wish I could do that to my daughters for jiu-jitsu, but no, I got to let them take their own journey, you know? I just provide a pad for them to do it. But they got to do their own journey just like us.
Yeah, that's it.
All right.
Well said.
Thank you so much for
Thank
everything.
you.